'Cause I've got a blank space, baby. And I'll write your name. Okay, tama na. Wala akong rights para sa kantang yun. What is up? It's just the JD and I'm back. 2 weeks, wala tayong video because busy with school, with defenses and everything. So I didn't get to make a video, but I'm back. Everything is hopefully schedule-wise back to normal with everything. So today we're going to talk about APA citations. So what is APA citation? It's essentially a way of citing sources that was originated or ang proponent ay ang American Psychological Association. That's why it's APA. Now, we cite sources. If you didn't know, we cite sources kasi plagiarism is, well, for lack of a better term, very bad. In some cases, it is illegal. Now, to avoid plagiarism and to avoid the essentially copying and pasting of information, we cite our sources, or if we get a certain piece of evidence, we rephrase it and then we cite the source of that evidence. Bakit importante ang APA citation, lalo na sa position paper? Because without APA citation, our sources are not credible. Okay? This is also used in research to justify their RRLs and RRSs, to make sure that these studies or that the things that you are writing in your academic paper are all credible, are all true, are all backed up with evidence. Okay? Now, today, in this video, part 1, we're only going to talk about in-text citation, or the citations we see inside of the essay or inside of the main body or the main academic paper. In the next part, which hopefully will come out next week, fingers crossed na hindi masyadong busy si Miss Jade, we're going to talk about creating a reference list. That's a different format altogether, but we're still going to use APA. So, just to clarify, this only covers in-text APA citation. We're not going to cover reference lists or the full citations. So, before we go on, let me first explain a few things. First, okay, we are using the 7th edition, one that just came out this year in 2020. If you're a past student of mine, hello, welcome back. If you're a past student of mine, I may have taught you another edition, the 6th edition, but unfortunately that is no longer in date, or it has since been phased out. So now we're going to use the 7th edition. Next, we have 2 types of in-text citation. The first type of citation, okay, is parenthetical. When the parenthetical citation is essentially, it's called parenthetical kasi nasa loob siya ng parenthesis, and it looks like this. Okay? Kung tama yung transition, dapat lalabas yun habang gumaganon ako. Kung hindi, huwag niyo na lang pansinin yung ganon. Okay? Next, we have the narrative citation. In the narrative citation, that should look like this. Okay? Again, kung tama yung pag-e-edit ko, dapat lalabas yan kasabay ng kamay ko. Okay? Pero kung hindi, huwag niyo na lang pansinin yung kamay ni Ma'am Jade. Okay? Now, in the narrative citation and the parenthetical citation, the difference is, in the narrative citation, we usually attach the author's name to the phrases according to, as stated by, or simply just the author's name followed by mentioned by. Okay? So, in narrative citation, it is simply tuloy-tuloy kasi yung narration. Okay? So, ang mangyayari, nasa labas po ng parenthesis yung pangalan ni author or yung last name ni author. Now, Here are some few rules moving forward to the different formats of in-text citation. Number 1 rule, we only cite the author's last name. Okay, last name lang po. Next, number 2 is we only cite the year of publication and not the specific date. Another note is that I created the animation or the slides in a different, it's not PowerPoint, I forgot the format. Pero yung Gonzales sa taas ay image. So ang nangyari, nung tinype ko siya as Gonzales sa baba, dun sa citation na mismo, nag-autocorrect siya to Z. And I didn't notice before I recorded. At kahit gaano ako kasipag, joke lang yun, hindi ko po uulitin hindi ko na po mauulit yung citation. So, patawarin nyo na po, mapapansin nyo po, Gonzales sa taas, tapos Gonzales sa baba. Same person lang po yun or same name lang po yun. Nagkataon lang po na nag-autocorrect yung software na ginamit ko para mag-record or para gumawa ng slides. So, forgive me for that, but please don't be confused with the citation. Anyway, we're just looking at the format. But in real life, wag nyo pong iibahin yung pangalan ng author. Okay? So, without further ado, here is how you create in-text citations. Go past Jade. Kung ang gagamitin yung source or evidence ay may isang author lang, katulad ng example dito, si Juan Gonzales lang ang nagsulat, ang itsura po ng parenthetical citation nyo ay magiging ganito. Okay? So, Gonzales, 2019, at nasa loob yun ng dalawang parentheses. Okay? Now, kapag narrative citation naman, ganito naman ang magiging itsura. Gonzales, and then ang nasa loob lang ng parenthesis ay yung 2019 or yung year of publication. Kung ang gagamitin nyo namang source ay may dalawang author or dalawa ang nagsulat, ganito ang magiging itsura ng parenthetical citation nyo. Gumagamit po tayo, parang katulad lang ng ng one author, pero gumagamit po tayo ng tinatawag nating ampersand or yung symbol para sa end. Okay? So, wag pong malilito dyan. Hindi po sinusulat yung full word na end. Sa narrative citation, ganito naman po ang magiging itsura. Okay? Kapag parenthetical, hindi ginagamit yung full word na end, pero sa narrative citation, ginagamit po. Okay? So, dahil ang mga words or ang mga name ng author ay nasa labas ng parentheses, hindi na kailangan i-shorten yung word na end. Next, if you're going to use a source with 3 or more authors, ibig sabihin 3 pataas ang authors nyo. Katulad dito, si Juan Gonzales, si Peter Jones, at si Alan Baer. Ang magiging itsura po ng parenthetical citation nyo ay ganito. So, hindi po natin isusulat lahat ng last name nila. Gagamit lang po tayo ng shortening na et al. Or in English, it is and all. So, please notice na after ng et al, may dot bago tayo magsulat ng comma. Okay? And then we'll write the date. And of course, those are all enclosed within parentheses. Okay? Now, sa narrative citation, ganun din po. Gagamit din po tayo ng et al. Okay? Dito po sa 3 or more authors, mapapansin nyo, hindi siya naka-alphabetically arranged. Ang logic po kasi natin minsan ay alphabetically arrange natin ang mga pangalan ng authors. In this case, sa APA citation, we do not alphabetically arrange the names of the authors. Kung sino po yung unang nag-a-appear doon sa details ng libro, for example, dito si Juan Gonzales ang nauna, so yung last name niya ang gagamitin natin. Okay? So, ganun po. Next is a group author with abbreviation. Now, maraming mga groups or mga association na nagsusulat ng mga articles or ng mga studies. So, walang pangalan or walang specific name yung authors nila. Ang binibigay na name ay yung association. For example, dito, ang American Psychological Association. So, sa parenthetical, meron po tayong first and subsequent or second until the last citation. So, sa first citation, bubuuin po natin yung pangalan ng association. So, American Psychological Association, and then within square brackets, nakalagay yung kanilang abbreviation. So, APA. And then the date. Okay? Yan po yung una or first. Sa una lang po yan because in the second and up, or the second and subsequent citations, ang gagamitin na po ay yung APA, 2020, and of course, they are encased in parentheses. Okay? So, tandaan po, sa una, bubuuin muna. Okay? And then, ilalagay yung abbreviation within square brackets. So, as you can see here. And then, sa pangalawa, abbreviation na lang po. Okay? So, wag pong malilito doon. Sa narrative, ganun din po. APA, American Psychological Association, nakabuo po. Ang pagkakaiba lang po dito, nasa loob po nung parenthesis yung APA or yung abbreviation. So, ang mangyayari po dyan, wala na pong square brackets pagdating sa narrative citation. Okay? Sa second naman po, APA na lang, hindi na po kailangan buuin at nakahiwalay ulit or nakapaloob pa rin sa parentheses yung publication year. Tandaan po, yung buo sa narrative at sa parenthetical citation, yung buong name ng association ay gagamitin lamang sa una or sa first citation. In the second and subsequent citations, we are going to use the abbreviations. Next, group author without abbreviation. Now, in the group author without abbreviation, for example here, University of California. So, hindi po sila gumagamit ng formal abbreviation ng pangalan nila. So, when we are citing them in parenthetical citation, university from the first up to the last, ang gagamitin lang po natin ay University of California, 2011, or the date, and then we have the parentheses. And in narrative, ganun pa rin po, buo pa rin po siya kasi nga po walang abbreviation, and then we just put the date or the year of publication within parentheses. Okay. So that's the difference between group without abbreviation and group with abbreviation. Next is what if the article has no author? Many articles and many studies because of age no longer have available names for the authors. In that case, the parenthetical and the narrative citation will look the same. They will look like this: the name of the article, okay, and then the date of publication. It is hard to use. In this case, there is no narrative citation. We are simply using parenthetical because there is no author. So that is how we are going to write the in-text citation for articles or studies or sources without authors. And last, we have citations of a work discussed in another or secondary source. So it has a note here saying it is generally expected that you seek out and use the original source of the information. However, this is not always practical. To cite a secondary source, do the following. Now, secondary sources are usually sources that are cited in a work but was not the original work. Kung baga, dinerive nila from that original work. So, ang isa-cite nyo po, for example, this is how it always looks. There is no parenthetical, there is no narrative. So, we have here Seidenberg and McClelland's study. So, that's the work that was cited in the study by Colhart, Curtis, Atkins, and Holler. Okay? So, it's a bit complicated, but just remember that if it is a secondary source, okay? The main source is outside of the parenthesis. The secondary source is inside the parenthesis. So, as you can see, the main source was the study by Seidenberg and McClelland, and it was cited by Colhert, Curtis, Atkins, and Holler. So, we need to use the phrase as cited in or as quoted in then the authors of the study where the original study was mentioned. Alright? I understand that it's complicated, medyo nakakalito, but if you study the format of this, you will get it as well. So that's how you create in-text citations. So sana nakita nyo yung different formats, sana magamit nyo sa paggawa ng position paper, ng research, lalo na ng RRLs. And I hope that you get a sense of how important it is to cite our sources. Because say it with me, we can, masama po ang mag-copy-paste. Okay? Masama ang mag-copy-paste, lalo-lalo na sa academic writing because it can lead to a lot of problems. So I hope that you know the importance of citing your sources and making sure that your citations are correct. That's all for today. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you when I see you.